Alright, a screencast for editing our soundbite here. Again, a lot of the procedures are going to remain the same as far as creating and saving our project and things like that. So I'm going to be working with the example of somebody's from First Block on this particular piece. So I'm working in this folder over here, alright, which I should have my master folder, Justin Fabiano cell phone, VOSOT. Alright, I open it up. I've got an interview. I've got nothing in B-roll yet, nothing in Premiere Project, and nothing in exports. So I'm going to be working with Alex Benning's work here. So I downloaded his interview. Okay, so I'm pretending to kind of be Alex for this particular assignment. So for me to find the correct soundbite, I've got to go into the script and figure out the soundbite that he chose here, which says, "I strongly dislike the phone policy because in case of an emergency, I should be able to text my parents." Okay, so I'm going to go into Premiere, and now I need to make a new project. Okay, and I'm going to call it Justin Fabiano underscore cell phone VOSOT. Alright, and I've got to change that location as always. So I click on the drop down menu, choose location. I'm going to go to my desktop, my VOSOT, and it's a Premiere document I'm creating. So I'm going to hit choose. And then to finish creating the project, I have to hit create. Okay, so now I've got my, I'm working in my effects workspace, so I can still see my essential sound panel over here and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I can click on this import media button, and I'm going to take my entire interview folder and I'm bringing that in to play. Alright, first thing I'm going to do before I ever edit anything, I'm going to right click. I'm going to modify my audio channels and my media source. Alright, so my source is the Rode microphone that should be in channel 1. That's on the left side. So I want to take the left media source. I want to send it to the left side. I also want to send it to the right side. So left media source goes to left, goes to right. Okay, this goes back to our audio editing stuff. Alright, and then I'm going to click OK. So now when I play this interview out, I can see clearly. I can see that I've got his microphone on the left channel and the right channel here. So the left side of my audio meter is the Rode mic, and now because I modified the channels, the right side of my audio meter is coming from the same source. Okay, so we need to make sure that we do that. Now, I can't just drag my media down to create a sequence. All right, that's gonna cause some problems. So I want to right click. I'm going to click on new item and new sequence. HD 1080p 2997. Okay, mine is this by default because it's what I use the most often. All right, yours should be set to the same thing. If it's not, if you see this window, you're going to click on this drop down HD 1080p, and we shoot in 29.97 frames per second, or we should have shot in 29.97 frames per second. Okay, and now I'm going to call this Justin Fabiano underscore cell phone, not VOSOT, but just SOT, because that's all I'm cutting in this particular. We're not cutting the VO part yet. We're just cutting the soundbite. So within this project, we're actually going to create two different sequences. We'll worry about the other one later, but for this case, all right, we're going to worry about this right now. Okay, so I've got my sequence down here, and now it's time for me to actually set my in point and my out point to find this soundbite. So I need to go back to my script, okay, which I have here. I strongly dislike the phone policy. That's the in point. I should be able to text my parents. That's the out point. Okay, so I've got to listen for that. Pretty sure it's right here. I'm going to hit I for in.
I strongly dislike the phone policy because in case of an emergency, I should be able to text my parents.
And he says parents, and I get out. It's a 6-second soundbite, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and pull that down to my timeline. It's going to ask me if I want to change the settings or not. I do not. I want to keep the settings. It should be highlighted in blue. All right, when I see that, you're going to notice that he's blown way up. Okay, the shot here on the left, looks normal, and the shot here on the right looks blown up. So we've got to fix that. So the first thing I'm going to do with my sequence window highlighted is I'm going to zoom in on my clip. I'm going to right click. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click set to frame size. And so now I've taken this 4K video and I've shrunk it down. Okay. So the reason we do this, and this is a little extra, you don't necessarily have to do this, but if our framing isn't exactly right, so it's not always, it's not bad. This could be a little bit better. He's got a little bit of a decent amount of space here between the top of his head. So this scale, if I go to my effect controls over here to the left, so let me just go ahead and I'm going to double click my shot in my timeline. It brings it up back here in my source panel. If I go to effect controls, I can change the position, the scale, the rotation, all these different things. And you notice that the scale is actually set to 50% because 4K video is twice the size of the 1080p window. So to fit it in the frame, you actually have to shrink it down 50%. All right, so if I click here and type 100, that goes back to what it was before. All right, if I type, 150, now I'm starting to blow it up bigger than it needs to be to fix anything, and it gets pixelated. So, being 50%, I now have another 50% window that I can adjust this thing. So I could type, 65%, and I've blown it up a little bit. And what that allows me to do is I can change the positioning by, if I click on position and highlight it, I can now kind of pull this wherever I want, and I can fix my framing a little bit. And I haven't lost any video quality because it's still only 65% of the size it used to be. So that's not something you necessarily have to do, but that's something that we do in my third block. That's why we shoot 4K and edit in 1080p, is it gives us a little bit of wiggle room to fix framing issues when we shoot. Not everybody frames everything as it should be framed every single time. So this is another fail-safe that we do. Okay, so you don't certainly have to do that, but that's something that we do in my third block. Okay, the next thing I need to do is auto match the sound to dialogue level. So I click on my shot. It's outlined in white here, highlighted in white. My essential sound panel is over here. Okay, mine is already over here because I'm in the effects workspace. If you don't see it, click on your workspace window, go to effects. Some of you may be in the editing window. Some of you may be in the learning window. But you can change it over here, going to the effects workspace, and my essential sound pops up over here. All right, it's already tagged as dialogue. If yours is not, you should see this. All right, so I just cleared the audio type, and when I tag it as dialogue, I have my dialogue menu up here. This should all be review, and all I need to do is make sure the loudness box is checked, and I click on auto match. And now my volume is going to be auto matched to this -12 over here, maybe a little bit over the -12 when I play it out.
Dislike the phone policy because in case of an emergency, I should be able to text my parents.
Okay, if I Command Z and undo that, and I play it out, notice that the sound is only at -18. So this was recorded a little bit low, not too low. All right, it's recorded at a decent level, but we need to boost it up a little bit, and that's what the Essential Sound panel lets us do. So when I auto match it, it bumps it up for me. I don't have to guess. I don't have to guess. It just does it for me. That was the point of us doing the audio stuff before we did this. Okay. Now, for this to work in the control room, I need to add what's called pre-roll and post-roll. So this is the new stuff. It is very simple. I'm going to add 1 second of pre-roll and 5 seconds of post-roll. The reason why is so that we eliminate the human delay when we are punching the buttons in the control room. So when I push play, I want there to be a 1 second pad before he starts talking. And when we get to the out point, I want 5 seconds of post-roll, because the way we have it set up is it will automatically go back to whatever is in preview. And we don't necessarily always want that. So anytime we're dealing with editing dialogue sound, and that dialogue sound, no matter how big, this is 6 seconds of video, it could be 2 minutes of video, doesn't matter. But anything that we have with dialogue sound in it, we're going to add pre-roll and post-roll. This has dialogue sound in it, When you cut the VO portion of this, it will not have dialogue sound in it. So for this, I need to add pre and post roll. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the audio track. Okay, and you'll see this little lock button here. All right, so I'm not messing with the audio. And I'm going to drag the video tails back on the front end 1 second. Okay, so I hover over the edge, I click, and I start to pull it. And you see this little minus button that goes down next to the word duration. It says minus 00000100. That means I have taken the tail to the left 1 second. If I go more than 1 second, you can see now it's 3 seconds. That's too much. I want this number that's changing to be 1. Minus 1 second. That means I'm pulling it back 1 second. Okay, I'm not worried about the duration. I'm worried about that number to the left of the word duration. I let go. And now in the other direction, I'm going to pull it out 5 seconds. So I'm looking at the plus side. And I'm pulling it out until it says 5. It says 5 seconds. There we go. So now I've got 1 second of muted pre-roll. I have my soundbite, and after the soundbite, I have 5 seconds. The goal is that, in the control room, we never get to the end of the clip. Somewhere in here, where my blue cursor is, somewhere in here, in this area, is where we are hitting the button to go back on camera. But we can't just have the video end. So we're adding what we call post-roll, okay? And so now I'm going to unlock my audio track, and now I'm just going to select the white area, the empty area here, and delete it so that now I'm at the beginning of the clip. And so here's what it looks like when I play it.
I strongly dislike the phone policy because in case of an emergency, I should be able to text my parents.
All right, and that is just a soundbite. We're not worried about nat sound. We're not worried about B-roll or anything like that. This is just a soundbite. When we cut a VOSOT for a studio production, the SOT is on a timeline by itself. And so that's what we're doing, okay? So now it's time for me to export. So I can hit Command M, or I can just click Export up here. And I've named my sequence, so this is right, Justin Fabiano cell phone SOT. Labeling becomes important here because for this project, you're actually going to export 2 pieces of video. You're going to export your VO, which we'll do next week, and you're going to export your soundbite, which we're going to do today. Okay. I also need to change the location. The last place I exported something to was to our rivalry report folder. Okay. This is not the rivalry report, so I need to click on this blue line, and I go to my cell phone VOSOT, and I'm exporting it, so it's going to be an export. And I'm going to hit Save. And I'm going to export it. This should take very short time because it's only 6 seconds. The blue sticky note has come up over here. It's done. I'm going to hit Windows S to save my project, and I can close out of Premiere Pro. And I have the SOT for this particular script, so I am now done. All right, I'm not turning this into Google Drive today. I'm just exporting it and getting it into the exports folder. We're going to turn it all in at one time.